Deborah Kerr, born Deborah Jane Trimmer on September 30, 1921, in Helensburgh, Scotland, always carried herself with quiet dignity, even as a child. Raised in a loving family, she showed early signs of a natural performer. At first, she trained as a ballet dancer, studying at the Hicks Male Drama School in Bristol, England. But fate had other plans. She shifted her passion to acting, a decision that would make her one of the most enduring stars of the 20th century. Her film career began in the early 1940s as World War II cast a shadow over Britain. Directors and producers immediately noticed her rare combination of beauty, poise, and intelligence. Deborah's breakthrough came with Major Barbara in 1941 and The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp in 1943. These films showed her versatility. She could play tender heroines, determined women, or morally complex characters. While other actresses were often typecast, Deborah always brought depth that made her characters unforgettable. By the late 1940s, Hollywood had its eye on her. She became a fixture in MGM productions, often cast as the symbol of elegance and quiet inner strength. But it was her role in Black Narcissus 1947 that truly established her reputation. As a nun torn between faith and desire, she gave one of British cinema's most haunting performances. Still, she wasn't afraid to defy expectations. In 1953, she stunned audiences with From Here to Eternity. Playing Karen Holmes, an adulterous officer's wife, she shattered her proper English lady image. The beach scene with Burt Lancaster, waves crashing as they kissed, remains one of the most iconic moments in film history. That single scene changed her career forever. Through the 1950s and 1960s, Deborah's star only grew brighter. She charmed the world as Anna Leon Owens opposite Yul Brynner in The King and I, 1956, a role that remains beloved generations later. She delivered sensitive performances in Tea and Sympathy, 1956, the war romance, Heaven Knows, Mr. Allison, 1957, alongside Robert Mitchum, and The Eerie, The Innocents, 1961, a Gothic masterpiece that displayed her psychological intensity. Over her career, she earned 6 Academy Award nominations for Best Actress, but never won competitively, a fact many still consider one of the great injustices of Oscar history. In 1994, the Academy finally corrected that oversight with an honorary Oscar, praising her as an artist of impeccable grace and beauty, a dedicated actress whose career has always stood for perfection, discipline, and elegance. Deborah Kerr's private world. Her personal life was just as eventful. On November 29, 1945, only months after World War II ended, she married squadron leader Anthony Bartley, a decorated Royal Air Force pilot. They had 2 daughters, Melanie Jane, born December 27, 1947, and Francesca Ann, born December 18, 1951. Francesca later married actor John Shrapnel, making Deborah the grandmother of Lex, Tom, and Joe Shrapnel, talented grandsons who became actors and screenwriters in their own right. But Deborah's fame became a strain on the marriage. Bartley reportedly struggled with jealousy over her success, and her long absences on film sets widened the distance between them. After nearly 14 years together, they divorced in 1959. Just a year later, on July 23, 1960, Deborah married novelist and screenwriter Peter Vertel. This marriage brought more stability. Though not without challenges, their partnership endured for nearly 5 decades. They divided their time between Switzerland's alpine town of Clusters and Marbella, Spain, before Deborah returned to Britain later in life to be close to her children and grandchildren. Deborah Kerr reveals the truth about Burt Lancaster. For years, Deborah kept a reputation as one of Hollywood's most refined and reserved stars. Yet, when asked later in life about working with Burt Lancaster on From Here to Eternity, 1953, she finally opened up with striking honesty. Burt was unlike anyone I had ever worked with, she admitted. He was brash, forceful, and his presence filled the room. That magnetism made him unforgettable, but it could also be overwhelming, even difficult. Deborah described Lancaster's dual nature. People thought Burt was just a rugged, tough guy, but he was incredibly intelligent and deeply thoughtful about his work. The problem was, he didn't always know how to temper himself. He could push people too hard, myself included. She even revealed the truth behind their legendary beach scene. That scene wasn't easy. The waves were rougher than expected. The sand was everywhere. And Burt, being Burt, wanted to do it again and again until he was satisfied. I was exhausted. Sometimes I felt like I couldn't breathe, but the end result was unforgettable. At the same time, she gave Lancaster credit. There was a spark between us that you cannot fake. Until then, I had always been cast as the proper English lady. Burt pushed me out of that box. He made me daring, and that changed my career. But her honesty also exposed his flaws. Burt had a temper. He liked control. There were times I felt more like I was battling him than partnering with him. He could be charming, yes, but there was another side, ruthless, guarded. I don't think Burt ever truly let anyone all the way in. Her words pulled back the curtain on the Hollywood legend, revealing a man as complex as the characters he played. And yet, Deborah acknowledged his importance. "I don't regret working with Burt. Together, we created something that will last far longer than either of us. But he was never someone I could fully trust. And that's the truth." The final years Deborah Kerr passed away on October 16, 2007, at age 86 in Boatsdale, Suffolk, England, after a long struggle with Parkinson's disease. Admirers remembered her courage and dignity even in illness. Her death marked the close of a golden chapter in Hollywood history. Tragically, just 3 weeks later, her husband, Peter Vertal, died of cancer on November 4, 2007. Their nearly simultaneous passings struck many as both heartbreaking and poetic. A couple so closely bound in life they couldn't be apart for long in death. Deborah Kerr's story is one of grace, talent, and resilience. On screen she was elegance personified. Off-screen, she endured struggles with dignity. And when she finally revealed the truth about Burt Lancaster, she gave us an unvarnished glimpse into the realities of Hollywood's golden age, where brilliance and difficulty often lived side by side. Her legacy remains not only in her unforgettable performances, but in her honesty, reminding us that even the brightest stars are at their core deeply human.